Hello everyone, Jordan Ray here, and I want to share with you another little code snippet to randomize multiple choice questions on some sort of quiz, some kind of comprehension quiz that you might be giving in a class. And this shows a pretty easy way to use the document app with Google Apps Script to get a selection from a document. Hopefully this gives you some ideas or is useful to you in some kind of way. Let's dive right in and get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up our script editor. I'm going to name the project multiple choice randomizer. And I like to run these functions from the toolbar up here. So we need to add this function to the toolbar. And I want it to go when the document opens. I want it to put it up there. This is going to be bound to this document, so you won't be able to use it from other documents. You could copy the code into documents where you need it, or actually publish it to be shared. But in this code snippet, we're just going to get the UI first, and I'm using that helpful text completion, that method completion that Google Apps Script Editor provides you. Let's just create a menu and call it multiple choice multiple choice randomizer. And then we're going to add an item, and we're going to say run, and then we need to give it a function name, and we'll just call it randomizer. Whoops, randomizer, and then we need to actually add it to the UI, and that's enough for our onOpen function. We need to create that randomizer function, and I'm just going to leave an empty little function stub there. So this run is going to actually run this, and we can just test that out by doing a documents app.getUI.alert and just say it works. So I need to actually put this on the document itself, so I'm going to run the onOpen rather than close the whole document and open it just to get this trigger to run. I'm just going to run it from this, and we should see the multiple choice randomizer with our run function, and it says it works. Great. Step one, the easiest part, done. So let's just delete out our little alert message there. We need to get the document, and we're going to say document app.getActiveDocument. Save it into the doc variable. This doc variable is going to be our access into this document. And then we want to, let's make this as explicit as possible by declaring a lot of variables. AppScript allows a lot of method chaining, which is super helpful, super nice, but in this case we're going to make things as clear as possible, and we're going to just say doc.getSelection, and that is whatever we're going to have highlighted is going to actually save into selection. And let's just test that out right there. And when let's just look and see what the variable looks like. This is my selection. Let's run that. And now it's actually accessing information from our document, so we actually have to give it some permission. But since it's me typing in this code, trust the code. Well, I trust my own code to a certain extent. So let's see what that looks like now that we ran it. In our logger, we have a range. Okay, it doesn't actually show us what's in that range. We need to actually extract it from the range. And if you're like me and haven't memorized all of the Google Apps Script API, you can very easily access that from the help menu. And then you can see actually in here under document, you've got range. Hopefully this is large enough on your screen. make it a little bit bigger. So we've got this range down here, and then we can access and see what all of the, whoops, make it a little bit smaller, see what the methods are for a range. So we're actually going to use this get range elements method and save that into a variable called elements. Selection.getRangeElements. And I'm going to do a little bit of method chaining here and use a JavaScript function called map. What map does is it takes each element from the range, and we're going to do some work on those elements because we actually want to save the text into the list. So we don't need the element itself, the element object. We actually need the text that's in there, and there's some methods that we can use. So what map does is it takes every element in our elements. Once we get range elements, we're going to, in fact, I'll just call this element, make it a little bit more clear. Then we're going to return that element, get elements as text, and get text. And that's going to return that into this elements array. And we'll take a look at that right here. Let's go back in here, and I'm just going to highlight the multiple choice options there. And so we've got New York, California, Wisconsin, Virginia. Exactly what I've highlighted, one after another. Perfect. And these square brackets indicating that it's in an array. Perfect. So now we need to shuffle those and then put them back onto the page. So let's declare a shuffled variable, and we're going to actually run a shuffle function on elements dot slice. What slice does is it makes a copy, so we're not referencing the original array. We're actually copying the whole thing into a new. We're actually sending a whole new copy into a shuffle function, and then the return is going to be what is being shuffled. Yep, close that out. So I need to create this shuffle function, and it's actually going to take in the array itself. I'm just going to call it A. Now, I'm going to type this function out, but I actually Googled this to see what the best way to kind of shuffle an array was, and I, of course, went to handy dandy Stack Overflow. If you have not heard of Stack Overflow, great place to start answering some of your questions, coding questions, when you first start, especially. So yeah, great resource to use, Stack Overflow. But I'm going to type this out. I found this, somebody had written this little code snippet on there, but I'm going to type it out so I can kind of explain it as I go. I need to declare 3 variables, j, x, and I. Then I'm going to loop through creating this I, and I'm going to set that equal to a.length. And as long as I exists, we're going to run the whole thing, and I'm going to do I minus minus. And then in the for loop, I'm going to set j equal to math.floor to round it down. And then I'm going to, inside here, math.random times I. That's going to be our j variable. Then our x variable is going to be equal to the a. Gets passed in here, a. I minus 1. Not I equals 1, I minus 1. And then we need to set a, I minus 1 equals a, j, and then a, j equals x. And after that for loop, we're going to return our new our new array. So I could have typed that out. I could have made this array just make it a little easier. But basically what this is going to do is it's going to shuffle that array and then put it into this shuffled variable. We can take a look at that here. And we saw what it looked like the first time we highlighted it. Let's run it again and see. Now we should be seeing a shuffled version of that. So instead of New York, California, Wisconsin, Virginia, we should have a different arrangement. Yeah, we've got Virginia, Wisconsin, New York, and California. Shuffled that array up. Okay. So we need to put this back on the page. We're actually going to create the selected elements variable. Call it selected elements. We'll call it selected text equals doc.get selection get range elements. And then we are going to loop through here. We're going to say var I equals 0. I is less than elements dot length I plus plus. Standard for loop there. And we're going to do selected text. We're going to put that I, and there's the index. We're going to get element. We're going to as text. We want to treat it as text. Then we want to set that text. And we want to set the text to our shuffled variable, but our shuffled variable I. That should give us our give us what we're looking for here. So when we go into our quiz, we select some multiple choice and we run that, and it's going to shuffle that up for us. Red, blue, yellow, green. Did it put it out at the exact same way? Yellow, green, blue, red. Shuffle this again. California, Wisconsin, New York, Virginia. Great. We've got those things shuffling perfectly. Now, this is pretty basic code. It's only going to work with things that are typed in a list, I believe. I think if I type 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think this will still work. Yeah, perfect. But it's not going to work if we type 1 or once, twice, thrice, quadruple. That is not going to work for us because we've only got one thing in our list. So pretty simple little code. If you want to expand on it, I'd love that. If you have any suggestions, please comment, subscribe, share these videos with another teacher. Hopefully this gives you some ideas to build something greater. Talk to you soon.